Yeah, again, this is just going to be round two with James here, just on the Speak On It campaign. James, would you mind introducing yourself again?
My name is James Michael Shannon. I was born in 1973. I'm 50. I'll be 51 next month, October. And so, yeah. So there you go.
So, going off of our last interview, you mentioned that you had some additional topics that you wanted to bring up in relation to just kind of what you're dealing with on a daily basis.
Yeah, on top of being homeless, which sucks from the start, which I did not anticipate coming here. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it, in the last interview, that on top of the cops, harassing us, which Emily pointed out that, students are they probably are worse than we are, because all we're doing is trying to sleep somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they're sitting there, breaking the law and, drinking in, public and all this other junk.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're not saying anything about that. And as far as the institutions themselves, like Transitions and Oliver, they're good places, and they are, but to me it seems like they're doing things half-assed or not to the full capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't take all the homeless people and stick them in Transitions or all. This is not going to work, and they're not going to fit, and then you give them like 30 days to find a job and all this other junk, and that's not going to work either, because it takes way more time to get a job, and some jobs don't always work out. Then on top of that, you got to find a place like an apartment or a trailer or something like that. And in this case, and in this state, South Carolina, you for low income, just from low income, and I know from my own experience that, like when I was upstairs talking to social workers on the third floor, that you have to already have some kind of income coming in. Whereas in Texas, you don't have to have that. You just need to, I guess, just be homeless. Mm-hmm. Or, just need help. And they help you get low income because they, like if, for example, if I was applying there, they would, say, okay, well, you're approved, but, you're going to have to do community service because you have no income. Mm-hmm. So they basically work with you. But here, it's not like that. It's like she said that you got to have some sort of income already coming in. I was like, if I had that, I wouldn't be talking to you. I would be talking to low income or a regular apartment or a regular place.
Exactly.
And that's kind of where it frustrates me because of this the situation I'm in. And I on social media, those people are always talking about get a job, and I'm kind of like in my head, yeah, I would get a job, but unfortunately, I'm not living with someone or have my own place right now because I have no money. Mm-hmm. And that's just and like Emily was saying the other day or yesterday that the state South Carolina feels like they want people coming here that already have money or have a lot of it, and they're trying to attract those kind of people. I'm like, when I was in Texas, South Carolina was not one of the places that people want to come to. In particular, they talk about New York, they talk about the Bahamas, they talk about, LA, they talk about the grand places like that to go to, when you're in other states that, they talk about all these. South Carolina is just not one of those places that come up. I'm sorry. Even when you're just talking like we are, that's just one of those things that comes up, and that's just the way it is, And I'm not trying to put South Carolina down, but when I hear stuff like that, I kind of like, who do these guys think they are?
Yeah, there's been a massive influx of housing projects being built, like neighborhoods and whatnot. I work in the roofing industry, so there's been. Demands are going up, so yeah, I get where it's like so much of an influx of people with cash, like you mentioned.
And when I'm on social media, okay, and I'm sitting there asking people for like money and stuff, or send me some money like on Cash App, I'm sitting here thinking that I'm not no different than the guy or people that hold up signs that they write on I need money, I need help, or whatever on the side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been going on for decades.
Oh, yeah.
And I see it everywhere I go, every big city I've ever been to, even small ones. You know, when I was in Texas, I've seen it everywhere. And it was just, I'd seen it before, but it seemed like these last couple of months, and especially in the last year or so, it's just, I've seen it more like often than I had been, especially in smaller towns. I'll start to see more and more of it. Like, you know, and it's because of the economy. It's in a toilet, you know, and I understand that. I know that because I used to have an apartment when we were in Texas. I used to watch TV. I used to watch news all the time. My sister would always ask me, what's going on with the news? And I was like, I don't know. It's crazy. It's just a bunch of crap. You know, but
cost of living has skyrocketed. Yeah.
Yeah, the cost of living has skyrocketed everywhere. It's not just, you know. And then they're like, "Oh, how'd you run out of food stamps?" I was like, "Well, I go to Publix because that's the only place around here that's like within walking distance that I can go to spend, my food stamps at. You know, and me being a nice guy, I always get like a sub, and I always get more than just one. So, like, well, how much does a sub cost? I don't know. I always get more than one. Because I get one for my friend or another person that doesn't have anything. So I help out with what I have, with my food stamps and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's just the kind of person I am, because I know they're homeless just like me, and that's the kind of person I am. I help with what I have, even though it's not much. I try to help.
I can't imagine that puts still, regardless, that puts an extra tax on your stamps.
Even if I had an apartment and that all they want is food, I would help them out,
mm-hmm.
Because that's just me, Now my sister or my brother, no, don't do that. No, screw them, they're bums. I was like, no, but this is. I think that's just coming from all them years I looked after my mom, and shit that kind of I guess rubbed off on me, It's like I was saying in the last interview. I looked after her, my mom, for 13 years, but I think even if the Social Security only pays me for the year that she was documented for having dementia, it would only been like 6-7 years or something like that, because from 2018 to this year, because this year she passed away.
Good afternoon, Richland Library. At 2:30 in our second floor theater, we have our event, Watch Freely, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Harrison Ford is back as Indiana Jones, who's an archaeologist, and he races against time to retrieve a legendary artifact that
nice.
changed the course of history.
Which one's your favorite?
This movie is rated PG-13 and has a running time of 2 hours and 34 minutes. Please join us in the second floor theater at 2:30 for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because of Sean Connery. That's why I liked it.
Classic role, yeah.
And I heard he was a dick.
Yeah.
But he's from Scotland, so I don't know, because those guys, I became a fan of Tom Cruise, because my mom recognized him. So I go because of her dementia, I was trying to go with people she knew. So I had a lot of Sylvester Stallone movies. And because of my brother, who was autistic, I had like all 4 Avenger movies.
Nice.
And Iron Man, Captain America, Thor.
Yep.
I was like, oh, brother. But he's autistic, so I try to, do what I could. I had at like 1980s action figures. I don't know why he liked them, but he did. I think because I used to have them back in the 80s, and my sister told me that she said you should keep them and take care of them, because I saw how he was with music CDs, and I was like, yeah, okay. Because I was about to order, because when I was selling our apartment in Texas, I was about to reorder another Greatest Hits, New Kids on the Block, because that was one of his favorite singer of all time was Bryan Adams. So I was like, okay.
And you mentioned that you still haven't heard anything from your brother recently.
They haven't. That's something else. Like when they put him in an assisted living, they took him away from me and they put him in an assisted living. I had when I was in Texas, I had gotten him out of an assisted living home. And because he was being picked on, he was being bullied. Like when he came home from work, the staff had to tell him to go into his room, lock the door, and all that. And the other, I guess, roommates or whatever there, they would go into the room and they would somehow pick the lock or whatever, get it open and beat him up anyway. And he's just coming home from work. And I think it's because he was different, because he listened to rock and roll. I mean, he listened to rap too, but just not all the time. He listened to rock and roll. He listened to things, and so I think that might be why. But there again, I don't know why. I don't know that. And I remember him sobbing, and when I got him out, he was sobbing and crying and talking about suicide and all this other stuff. And that's why I was. And then our dad passed away, and him and my dad were very, very close. And he was sobbing when that happened, and that was just last year. And so I had to tell him that it was a part of life. And then my mom passed away this year while we were on the streets. And that's why I keep trying to tell people on social media is that, you guys might have been homeless at one point in your life, but you were not homeless with your mom and your autistic brother. And, that stung. When I had to go through that, and I'm still going through that, and it still stings, and I don't think they can grasp or understand that, when you lose your parents and then you lose your brother, especially ones that were, not able to take care of themselves, it really
gets to you.
Yes, it does. And then on top of that, I have to deal with this. And then I got to listen to these people on social media. And I'm hoping that one day it's going to pick up. And a lot of my videos do blow up, especially on Instagram. And then on YouTube, I got so many views. I got so many, and I'm like, okay. But when's this? I'll get excited when the money starts rolling in. And I'm living in a big old house. And I'm like, screw you haters. Live where I'm living.
And just to clarify, for the interview purpose, you are also streaming to your own followers.
Well, I'm not streaming, just recording.
Still.
Then I'll post it later because I slice it up and I'll post like segments, like 30 seconds. Because I stay with the short. I stick with what got me to where I'm at, which right now hasn't got me anywhere. But I'm trying to, do something, anything, to get myself in a better position or a better situation.
Hopefully you can get some ad revenue off of that.
The whole point of me coming to South Carolina in the first place was because of my mom. All of her immediate family passed away, so I thought, okay, she must be close to death herself, and she actually was, because they said that the doctors kept telling me that she was in her last stages of her life or whatever, or dementia, so they knew that she was close to death. And I wanted to get her back on her land, the place she called home, and let her live the rest of her days on her land.
Right.
And that was what I wanted to do. And I was kind of like, this is my way of saying, hey, Mom, I love you. I love her. Because when they told me she passed away, I was here at the cafeteria downstairs, and I just cried and cried. But I told her I was going to cry like a baby because I felt like I lost my best friend. We were buddies. I mean, I remember and I know she liked John Wayne because her dad liked John Wayne. So I would put stuff on like that, but then when it would go off, I put up like I Dream of Jeannie on. I had the whole series, and because we didn't have cable, so I bought like DVDs. So I buy the whole set, and this is why I would do that. Like I had the whole set of Mission Impossible. I had the two Top Gun movies. I had 1 and 2, and I was telling my brother in Virginia and my sister about the movie Top Gun Part 2. He was like, don't tell me what happened. I don't want to know. I don't want. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you guys already seen it. And they're like, no, I didn't see it yet. And I was like, oh, crap. Because I was telling them about how Val Kilmer, stuff. Because he's one of my favorite actors. I love how he portrayed Doc Holliday in Tombstone. And I just think he's one of those great actors out there. Tom Cruise, too. I became he wasn't really one of my favorites, but he became one of my favorites because of my mom. She knew who he was. Like same with Sylvester Stallone. She knew who he was, So that's why I would put movies on like that. If it was James Bond, I had to throw on the old James Bond, because she would know who those guys were. But it's like with the Beatles. It would have to be the young Mob Top Beatles. I couldn't do the old one. I mean, because if Paul McCartney walked in, she would not know who he is. Like he'd have to put his mop on. Hey, I'm Paul McCartney. Like, but she, so she like, who's this dirty old man?
Sounds.
My mom. But her favorite singer was Elvis Presley. She loved Elvis. I mean, I put a movie on with him, and she'll tell me shut up and go in the other room. That's how much she liked Elvis. I mean, but I was telling my friend Will out there about it, and Will was like, that was her generation. That was just what she grew up with. That's I couldn't sit there and listen to Tupac and DMX and all that stuff. It's just not what she would listen to. She would like, who's this guy? You're not my son. And but because of her dementia, it scared me a lot of times because I mean during the late stages of her I guess life, it was like a couple of times she was like asked me who I was. And I was like, that really hurt me. That really broke my heart. Because I love my mom, and I was, so close to her. And every time there was something going on with her that I didn't know what to do, or she wouldn't respond, I was like, okay, because I had hospice, and if they was going to be too long getting there, because they come out like once a week, but if something like she wasn't responding to me, or she was having like seizures. That was her last couple of years. She was really having seizures. I started to have them. I would call, I'm just like, my sister would be like, get off the phone and call 911. Because I was like, well, hospice is taking too long. And I called my sister and she's like, get off the phone with me and call 911. And that's what I would do. So if I couldn't get a hold of hospice, I would call 911 and get her to the hospital and get her checked out. They got so pissed off at me when I would do that. I was like, I love my mom. What do you want me to do? I mean, I care about my mom. I'm trying to make sure that she's, okay, she's got the proper care, and she, I thought people would say this guy just gives a shit about his family. This guy cares. I do care, and sometimes I'm on the street and I'm kind of like, I told Will, I feel like I'm alone. I feel like I'm by myself. People don't know and realize how lonely you can be.
On top of dealing with, so much at the same time, like how you are.
Yeah, and the land, then there's the land, and I'm dealing with that. It's in probate right now. I kicked it off because I felt like, my sister has agreed, my brother in Virginia has agreed to sign off on the stuff. They were going to give me, once they sign it and put their address and all that stuff on and have it notarized and send it back to me, then I'm going to send it back to the court, and then I'm going to, I'm going to evict my cousin and his friends, and I'm going to have the dogs put in the dog pound. I'm like, well, you can take them with them. Take them with you, and I'm like, take your punk friend with you. I don't care. I mean, because I'm out here in the street now. You can go be in the street, see how you like it, and I'll debate on whether I should sell that land. I probably will. Like, I need the money.
Exactly, yeah.
Because I'm tired of getting on social media and asking people for money. Hey, send money to my Cash App, James Michael Shannon too. And I'm like, and then all they do is like, get a job. Get a job where? Where am I going to get a job at? I mean, who's going to hire me? Oh, well, someone will hire you. Like, no, how do you know? You work there? Do you know the boss? Are you the boss? I mean, I was like, look, I'm not trying to, say anything, but, look, the Kardashians are rich and they do literally nothing. I mean, they don't act, they don't sing, they don't rap, they don't do anything. I mean, but they're millionaires for doing nothing. What, shaking your ass? I mean, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. So, and one guy was like telling me I should go rub down PD. I was like, why don't you go do that? So I was like, because I hear about all that crap about him in the news. It's like all over the news. How could you not? But anyways, getting back to that stuff, it's like, it sucks. This is not what I had planned on when we came here to South Carolina from Texas. It was, but my cousin, like I had said before, was like telling the EMS guys and the cops that he told me there was no running water and there's no electricity. And he knew it was like this when before he came here. I was like, no, I did not. He did not. Even my sister and dad like, no, we don't talk like that. We're cousins, but we're not close cousins. Because my dad was in the Army, so we moved around a lot. So we were always like, in different states. We went overseas. We did all these things. Went all these different places and stuff like that. But when I turned 18 back in 1992, my dad kicked me out, and the cop even went up to the door of our house and told my dad, look, if you doing this to your son isn't going to do him any good. It's just going to end up, and he was right. And my dad didn't want to listen. He's like, I don't care, I want him gone. And so that next day, or that week, as a matter of fact, I went to high school, where I was going to high school at, and pulled my own records and dropped out of high school. And I was like, I have no address. That was the first time I had ever been homeless. I had just hit 18. I got thrown out of my house. I was basically homeless at that time. I didn't know what to do. You know, I hitchhiked from Texas all the way to South Carolina, with 2 other friends, and I was the only one that made it because one of them turned back before we even got to the town limits. The other one got arrested when we were in Georgia, and I don't know what he was arrested for. So then I was the only one left. And then I got here, and everyone told me that that was crazy. I could have been killed. And I was, I think, 17 at the time. This is like early 90s when I did that. And then I had started breaking the law, and I started.
I mean, given your circumstances, what else? What were your options?
I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And I had no job skills. I had no job experience. So I just did what came natural. I just started stealing stuff, breaking into breaking into houses, breaking into cars. I got arrested for burglary habitation, burglary vehicle, and I got put in jail. And I was in and out of jail in Texas throughout the 90s, and that mostly was because I didn't have the money to pay the probation fees and stuff like that. So they would always revoke my probation and send me back to jail at usually 6 months and stuff like that. And then I get out on probation again. That's like, I think in 93 is when I went to boot camp. I got sent to boot camp back in 93, and they made me get in the push-up position, and then they shaved all my hair off. And I was like, oh my God. Then they made me run laps, do push-ups, do sit-ups and all that stuff. Like, I think it was pitch black. I remember, I don't even know what time it was. It was super early in the morning. And all this was before breakfast. And and then we got done doing all that crap, and they're like, and I made a mistake of getting coffee. And I was like, and the other cadets were like, no, don't get no coffee. So
was it a trap?
No, because they're not going to let me sip it. You're going to drink it like it's water.
Oh,
and I was like,
no.
And so the next time we went to chow, I never did that. I never got coffee again. I got juice or something, water. I was the only thing I got. I was like, nope, I'm not getting no more coffee. So that's what I did. I just kind of like, and that was, and then I told them, I just started running my fingers and my hands across the vents because I got a chair, got up close to the vents, and I just acted suicidal, and they kicked me out of boot camp, and then I got sent back to county. They sent me because when I was in Austin, I was in Austin, Texas, and it was like a penitentiary there. It was county jail, but it was like a penitentiary. But they sent me back to county. This is where I met the David Koresh followers and stuff. But no, when I went to, I got out and then I went to Charleston, South Carolina back in 96, 95, 96. I'm skipping around years. That stuff I was telling you, that was 93. But then 95, 96, I went to Charleston, South Carolina. And I wasn't allowed. You're not supposed to do that when you're on probation. I got U.S. Marshal. That's when the U.S. Marshal picked me up. And they were the same guys that took John Gotti and his brother to prison, and that's when he told me that he was a New York gangster asshole, and so I didn't. I was kind of like, well, really, and then right before I got out of when I went to the joint, when I went to prison, they kept moving me around. They kept moving me from one prison to another, and I think it was because I helped this guy escape. But he didn't escape. He just broke both of his legs like a dumbass because he dropped down at the high point of the building, and I was like, you idiot. And I don't know why he did it. And so, then the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy was there. So they told me, the inmates. And so they said, go down here and take a left or whatever, and he's right there. And he just like, the room is dark. He's in there smoking a cigarette or some shit. And they was like, I was there in the same building as him, and they moved him to another prison.
And how old were you then at this point?
Ooh, you're making me, think now, because now I'm like, I'm in my 50s now, so we're talking, ooh, shit, this is like 99, 2000 year? Because the year 2000 is when I discharged, because I finished all my time.
Right.
And I was supposed to turn around and sue the state of Texas because they held me past the time I was supposed to be released.
Oh, really?
Yes. I was supposed to be out, I think, a month or two before. When they actually released me, I was already supposed to have been out like a month or two before that. And that's why they say go talk to an attorney and file a lawsuit, because they were supposed to release you like two months ago, and they didn't. They held me past the time I was supposed to be released. But I was in 3 penitentiaries. I was in the Gurney unit, and then they sent me to Holiday unit, and then they sent me to the Walls unit. And the Walls unit is basically a release unit for all prisoners, and it's also where they hold all the death row inmates. And that's where the Texas Chainsaw Man was. And that's where I'm, supposed to, was where he was, when I got there. And I was like, okay, he's probably dead now, because it's been, 20 years, 30 years, something like that now. So, and then people come up and think I'm Leatherface or some shit. I'm like, no, man, where are you getting this crap? And then I'm like, where did you, what? So I'm like, no. Or they think I'm a hitman, or I'm
like people here?
Everywhere. And they think I'm in protective custody or something. I'm a hitman. I'm like, no, man, where did you all watch too many movies or something. And so I get sometimes paranoid, or people see me and they know me from the social media, and they're like, they get all googly eyed, and I see it in their eyes. I'm like, oh my Lord. And my brother's kind of funny because he's autistic, and when he's with me, and he's like, now's not a good time. Now's not a good time. And he gets a funny face when a girl's trying to, I guess, get all cozy with me or something, and I'm like, okay. But I try not to do that around my brother, because he's kind of, he's autistic, and he's kind of, I don't know.
Still, I can imagine all the stuff that's just, working through. It affects, how
it's
the community, how you're part of the community here.
Yeah, it's weird, because I didn't expect any of this when I came to South Carolina. And now that I'm homeless, and I see how people are, and I see how these people, and one guy said, like, it's kind of like in Columbia, where, the people in Columbia don't like the people in West Columbia, and West Columbia feels the same way about Columbia. And I was like, I didn't know that.
Me neither.
And so I was like, really? I didn't know that. And so West Columbia and Columbia don't like each other. So I don't know what's going on with that. But this is what I heard, and I was like, well, okay. So, but like I said, I've been here since May of this year in Columbia, South Carolina, and it sucked the whole time I've been here. Yeah. Not one thing good has happened to me. I do not know why. They feel like, I guess because then one person told me that if they see you walking around town and you got a backpack on, they know you're homeless. I'm like, okay, that doesn't necessarily mean you're homeless. And people think that because of this land thing, they think I'm a landowner. I was like, no, I'm not a landowner. If I was that's where I would be. I'd be on my land, But I'm not going to be there, because he told me that when my cousin's friend told me that when my cousin went in there, that he was in charge. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to fly with me or my brother. Now, my brother's autistic. My brother will storm off, and I'm going to have to go find him wherever he is. And he's like, no. So then that's when I grabbed my brother. I was like, we're not going to get no help here. We need to leave now. And we walked, I think, 10 miles to West Columbia, wherever, because the land's in Swansea, South Carolina. Mm-hmm. It's not that far from here.
How long did you two have to walk?
We walked like 10 miles. My autistic brother and me. At that point, my mom was at the hospital. Now, I looked after my mom for like 13 years, and then we come here, and she's in a hospital for like the one in Lexington, not here. Mm-hmm. And then she gets put in a nursing home, and like I think a month later, like not even 2 months later, she's dead. And
they didn't even tell you immediately, if I recall correctly, right?
They called me that afternoon.
Okay.
And told me she had passed away, and that's when I just broke down and cried, because that was my mom. Mm-hmm. And I miss my mom. I still to this day. Well, I'm gonna miss her every day, probably for decades, because she's probably the rest of my life. Because I love my mom, I wasn't too crazy about my dad, but because me and him had a rocky relationship, and that, there's days when I wish I could go back in time and try and make amends with my dad, and I had tried to over the phone, but during his last years that he had seizures too. But I was not his caretaker. There's this bitch down there in Charleston that was his wife, and I just bite my tongue. And she's the one that told me that he had passed away, and I told my brother, my autistic brother, and he went to pieces when I told him because he was really, really close to our dad. That sucked that I had to tell him. And to this day, I don't know if my brother knows that our mom passed away. So because I haven't been able to talk to him, they won't let me talk to him. They won't let me know where he's at. I want to hear it from him that he's okay. I don't want them shitheads telling me, "Oh, your brother's fine." Oh, well, let him tell me.
Exactly.
I want my brother to tell me that he's fine.
And I think the fact that you're dealing with this shit.
Yeah. How do they do that? How do they we come to South Carolina, they take my mom, they take my brother, and I'm left out here in the cold, to deal with the elements, and that's not right. Why am I having to deal with this crap? And then these people get on social media and they bash me because I'm this and I'm that, and I'm always asking people for money, and I'm like, like me, just you can just get over your parents and your brother, and like that, like it was just nothing, and like, yeah, but shit happens. Really, this is not some TV show. This is real life. This is stuff, that I'm going through. And I have been going to the hospital because of my depression and anxiety and all that stuff. And this week coming up, I'm gonna try and report it to the Social Security so they can update my case, so that way they have all this information for my disability.
Has the hospital been giving you grief in any way for your situation?
They give me medicine, or whatever, and I tell them I don't have the money for the medicine. Sometimes they give me medication right there. They'll send me to their pharmacy that they got right there in the hospital, or they just give me the paperwork. A lot of times they'll give me a shot, and then they give me the pill, and then they give me the paperwork, and then they kick me out the door. And that's and I'm kind of like, this is because I have no insurance. And if I had insurance or some money, they would have kept me. They would have probably let me stay. They would have kept me. I know they would have. And they probably would have been like, or put me in a room and so probably would have, I know they would have put that on me, and probably would have put an IV in me and find all other kinds of stuff going on with me that I probably didn't want to know, and they would have been like, you are so messed up.
Yeah, but it all ties back into the fact that, you're stuck in this situation and you can't find a job.
And no one's trying to help me do anything. They're like, well, you need to just get a job. Like, how is that going to help anything? It's not going to bring my mom and brother back, and it's not going to resolve my depression or anxiety. That stuff just doesn't magically go away.
And it makes it harder to get a job, in all honesty.
Yes, it does. And then all these other factors come into play when you're having to deal with this stuff. I do talk to other people and hang out with other people that are homeless, like myself. On top of the fact that the cops don't really help, and my mom and my brother, and I told you guys earlier how it was for my brother when he was in the assisted living home, and that was in Charleston, South Carolina, right here in this state. So they sitting there telling me that, oh, he's in a safer place. I'm like, the hell he is. I'm like, and then he comes out of assisted living home, and I'm out there in Texas, me and him, and he's talking about suicide. And when he was in there, he was getting beat up, and he's coming home from work. How in the hell is that safe? If that's safe, I'm Tom Cruise. There's no way that's safe. I mean, that's ridiculous. And they're sitting there, don't worry about it. I mean, fuck you. That's not your brother. It's not your mom. I don't know if my mom died of natural causes or she got beat up or what. I don't know that. Because I know that they have places like that, but those places like that, those people that work there are like, well, that's not my mom, it's not my brother, and they look at it, I'm just here to get a check. And that's how they look at it. It's 9 to 5. I can't wait for this time to get done so I can clock out and go home. Because they want to get that check, they want to go home, drink that margarita, whatever, That's what they're thinking about. They're not thinking about, well, I got to go change her diaper. No, I ain't doing that shit. It ain't my mom, And I did it at home. And one person told me it's like that was just your response. Like, no, it wasn't. That was my mom, my brother. Yeah, it was my responsibility, but it also at the same time I should have been getting paid to do that because.
Again, it's unpaid labor, to take care of
pretty much
elders, and
there's a lot of stuff that goes into that because I was changing her diaper, especially for my mom. I always had, and this is why I slept in the same room that she slept in. I slept like on a miniature busted up kind of like coffee table, whatever. But it was kind of
coffee table.
Well, not a coffee table. It was kind of like one of those foot thingies. You place your feet on. It's, but I slept on that. She slept on a regular bed. But I had to sleep in the same room with her because she had this thing about trying to get off of the bed, and I had to. So a lot of times I'd have to roll her towards the wall so that she wouldn't. It'd be hard for her to get back up. But I always had to keep an eye on her sitting there only until she went to sleep, because sometimes she would sit there and stay up all night and then stay up all day and stay up. I was like, oh my God, you're gonna give me a heart attack. But I love you, Mom. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I have to sit there and give her sleeping pills. Like, you need to go to sleep. But I miss her so much. And so, but she, that's what I would do, stuff like that. And on top of changing her diapers, I always had to check her. And she would always try to hit me. I was like, Mom, I have to check. And sometimes if she smelled, or I checked to see if she was wet, I had to change her diaper. And I always got the pull-ups. I never got those ones where you strap on there. I always got they're just easier for me.
Right.
And my brother, I was like, here, go change. I'm not doing you like that, because he could get up and go change himself. He would always do number 2 on himself. He would just, and he had he just never was properly potty trained, and he'd always been that way. Ever since birth, and so, and that's, like when I get near him, I'm like, I do that stiff, and he's like, what? I'll like, go change. I'm like, here's diaper, go. And I always give that, and I give him a bag, and so he knows to put that in the dirty diaper in a bag and take it out to the trash. And that's the kind of stuff I would do with him. And then I'd go to the store, ask him if he wants to go with me, because he wasn't a good babysitter when it came to my mom. I always make sure she was asleep, or if she wasn't asleep, I'd ask her, hey, you want to go with me? And dementia people, like with my mom, I'd always try to get her in the kitchen with me when I'm cooking sometimes. I don't know why they like that, but I ask her.
Do you enjoy cooking, James?
Well, when it comes to my family, yes, I did. I did not mind cooking for my mom. I didn't mind cooking for my brother, as I always cook their stuff first, or make their meals first, and then I'd be last. And I'd be like, I'm last. So I did my mom. But sometimes, like lately, like her last couple of months for my mom, I'd have to make her stuff. I started making her stuff second, because I would have to, with her, I'd have to cut her stuff up, and then I had to sit there and feed it to her sometimes. But sometimes when I go to McDonald's or Burger King, I wouldn't have to do that. She'd just eat it. And I'm like, okay, make this cook feel bad, So, but it didn't bother me, because it was my mom and my brother. So I kind of like, if I went to McDonald's, Burger King, or anywhere, Ruby Tuesday, doesn't matter. I always got them whatever they wanted. I was like, you want a burger? You want something? But I had to always get something that was softer and easy for them, because my mom and my brother didn't have no teeth. So I get the same thing they got. I was like, I get what you guys got. I'm just, whatever. So, I didn't want to feel like, I'm getting this because I got teeth and y'all ain't. I didn't do that to them. It's kind of like, that's just how it was. Like, if we was at the Hilton, we were at the Hilton a lot of times, but that's because it was right across the street from the hospital, which is where we were most of the time.
Yeah.
Because of my mom. I was always having to go there because she had urinary tract infections. And a lot of people don't know what the hell that is. Believe it or not, like, what is that? I was like, oh my God, you're retarded. I was like, that's when your bladder gets infected?
Right, yeah.
I started going into detail about that stuff. They're like, okay. I'm like, well, you wanted to know. So, but she'd have that, or the major thing was seizures with her lately. It was the seizures. She'd have a seizure, and I had to get her to the hospital, and they'd do their thing. And I remember the first major one they had. She had a tube. They had a tube down her throat, and they had her head wrapped up in a white bandage, and they had all kinds of, wires and stuff. My brother, I remember when he went there, he recognized all of that, and I was like, oh my God. And then he started telling me about the shunning, so I was like, you got the same stuff Mom has. And so that's why I'm so, because he's got water on the brain like my mom did, and he's got a shunt in his head, because so the liquid can, it clears out the liquid in his head.
Gotcha.
So that's, he's got the same stuff my mom had, or, so, and he ain't got no teeth just like my mom, and he likes Paul McCartney just like my mom. I was like, you're just like Mom. And so he reminds me of our mom, and but that's why and he my dad was always a Ringo Starr fan. They liked the Beatles, okay? So and
they were good musicians.
Yeah, they were. But then and so they were a big influence on our lives, and I was just now all I have of my parents is my memories. So yeah, I go through stuff like that, the memory lane and all that shit, but at the same time, like I said, I'm going through this struggle with homelessness, and how do I get back on my feet? How do I get out of this rut that I'm in? And I told my sister, listen, after I get my new ID, my ID renewed, I'm thinking about just going to another city or like another state, and because I'm not getting no help here. This is the capital.
Yeah.
And I like, this sucks. They're their ass backwards. I'm like, I've been to other states. I've been to many of them, and they're low income shouldn't work that way. Low income is called low income for a reason. You have no income. This is why but here they're like, oh, well, you got a house. This ain't Beverly Hills. This ain't New York. This is Columbia, South Carolina. No one wants to come here. Trust me. I'm telling you. And then they drive all these fancy things like they're showing off, and I'm like, oh my God, you people really just don't. I'm like, where do y'all think y'all are?
That's another thing. Like Finley Park, just a few blocks away, it was a perfectly decent park, and then they closed it and kicked everyone out just so they can renovate it for millions of dollars that they could have applied, to the community and people like you, instead of refurbishing that perfectly already good park.
All they had to do, all my cousin had to do was say, hey, listen, you come here, there's no running water, there's no electricity, and, the rest of the family is not really willing to let you, to help you out if you get here and you ain't gonna. If he'd have called me and told me that, I'll say, okay, I'm taking those tickets, throwing them in the trash, and I would not have came here, and I wouldn't be going through this. Now, my mom may or may not be alive, but I would still have my brother, and we would still have an apartment, because I know we could swing it there in Texas, because the rent was low enough. It was like $4 something. Yeah. So.
Well, speaking of your brother, James, I hate to cut you off, but like 4 minutes ago, is there anything that you would want him to hear as a closing statement?
I love him, and I miss him, and I'm so sorry for everything that has transpired or has happened since we came to South Carolina, and I'm trying my hardest to turn this whole situation around, and I'm not going to forget him. And when I do get it turned around, I am going to come and get my brother. I promise you, I will get my brother back. That I know for sure. And and I miss my mom. I miss her like crazy. I miss my dad too. So miss both of my parents. So, and I called my sister yesterday and my brother in Virginia. My sister said she'll send me a gift card. She said she get paid today, so she's like, I'll send you a gift card. She sends hers through the mail, so she's like, I ain't gonna cash app you, but I'll get a gift card and I'll send it. She's like, $20, $25, something like that. She's like, but every little bit helps. I'm like, that's what I told her. I was kind of like, it's something. That's all I can ask for, So that's kind of like, it's something. My brother in Virginia's like, he can't do anything. I was like, oh man. I was like, I'm tempted to ask for a ticket up there, like a Greyhound bus ticket to go up to Virginia. I was like, man, look, I need help now. I need help. I was like, I'm on the street, dude. I mean, give me a change of clothes, something, come on, we're brothers, we're supposed to be, it's supposed to help me out, But I'm the oldest out of all of the brothers, and my sister's older than all of us. You know, she was born, you know, before me. So, and I was hey, look, guys, and we're all we got. You know, there's no mom and dad no more. So, and I'm kind of the fatherly figure for our autistic brother, and we all had the same mom, same dad, and you know, this being on the street crap is not what I came to South Carolina for. But I am speaking out for all homeless people. You know, they need to do something other than run people off.
Yes.
And they need to do something other than have 2 shelters that do everything half-ass.
And they're trying to close those shelters.
Yeah, letting the college people pretty much run this town. You know, because they're all over the news and you know for sports. And I get it. You know, and that's what you want to do is beat your opponent, not beat your own city. To a point where, okay, this is how we want to be. I get that. But you ain't got to sit there and treat your own people like shit, you know, because you want to be, you know, the place that everybody comes to. You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure they don't do that in Beverly Hills, you know. You know, and Martha's Vineyard, which is, you know, another place where a lot of rich people go. You know, and so, you know, that's kind of jacked up, you know, but, you know, all these... It's like they create a problem and they don't want to, you know, solve it. You know, Columbia does, and
solving it wouldn't make money.
No,
that's the problem.
Yeah, I know it is a problem, and it's. By the way, I know this is an election year, and I'm not sure I would vote for either one of these people that are going into office, Trump or Biden or
They don't care for you.
They don't care, because if they cared, they'd be here. They'd say, "Hey, no, we can't do that. Why are you?" You know, and I think the homeless thing is because of Trump. I think he's kind of like, you know, anti-homeless, and that's kind of stupid. I mean, you might be homeless, but we're still Americans. I mean, we were once like you. I think every one of us was. We all had homes or our apartments in our lives. We just fell on hard times.
I think that's like the bracket between, you know, people with homes and people without. You know, it's so thin nowadays. It's so easy to fall, you know, just a little further down.
One check or 2 checks away from, you know, missing a payment on your bills and stuff, and boom, there you go, you're out the door. You know, because I'm pretty sure that the landlords are not going to want to hear that. But you ain't got the rent. What the hell? You ain't got nowhere to stay either, buddy. Yeah. You know, and a lot of people don't want to hear that. You know, and you know, I'm not wishing that on anybody. I hope no one has to go through what I've gone through. You know, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that it does suck being homeless, and this is not something I planned on at all. You know, I need a coat, I need a haircut, I need all these different things. You know, and I don't know how to get them. I mean, I don't know how to get them other than ask for money. From people on not Instagram, but you know, just on the internet. You know, I'm like, I've turned to my family. I asked for them for help. I don't have a mom and dad I can call up and say, "Hey man, can you help me out? I need to come home." What home? You know, what parents? And you know, I don't have any parents anymore. I ain't got no one to turn to really. That's why I told my friend Will. I was like, I'm alone. You know, I'm you know, I feel like I am alone. I feel like I don't have anybody. You know, it sucks. It's kind of like when I was in jail all them years, you know, in the 90s, you know, I spent all that time by myself, so I kind of got used to it. I hate to say that or admit it, you know, because no one wrote me, no one called me, they wouldn't accept my calls. I just quit calling because they weren't going to accept them. My own dad, he would like, I heard him in the background and telling my autistic brother to hang up on me. It's like, hang up, I don't want to talk to that motherfucker. That's what he said, word for word, you know, and that's. So I quit calling. So
and now here you are. You're the one who's actually, you know, trying to take care of your brother.
Yeah, and when he was in that assisted living home, and no one came to see him, and no one called and stuff, I knew I could relate because I went through that myself, just in different circumstances. You know, because and that's why I always try to call, and I never gave up on him, and I still am not going to give up on him because I know what that's like to go without people, you know, especially family, not being there for you. I know what that's like. It sucks, you know. you know, and your family's supposed to be the number one people you can turn to for stuff, you know, and I'm so used to them turning a cold shoulder, or giving me a cold shoulder, but I'm like, they shouldn't do that to him. He don't know any better, man. I mean, come on, man. This is bullshit, you know. But by them helping me or cash apping me would help me get a place or get back on my feet so I can get my brother. And I wouldn't make videos like that. I wouldn't need to, because I would have my brother. He gets disability, you know, and they can call it what they want to, but he doesn't know how to do the important things like pay the bills, cook meals, change his own diaper. Well, he can change his own diaper, but sometimes
the point is though that you do. So if you can, it's the important part. There needs to be some way for you to be able to come back together.
There has to be. And if I can't get it done here in Columbia, I'm gonna have to go to another state and just come back for him. Yeah. I told my friends, listen, there's two things I'm gonna have to come back here, no matter where I go, and I'm gonna have to come back for my brother and that land. Now, the land I might not have to come back here. I think I could probably sell it if that's what I want to do, and even if whether I'm in the state of South Carolina or not, I'm pretty sure I probably could sell it. Once that thing is mine, I could probably sell it. I'm pretty sure I could, without a doubt, even if I wasn't in South Carolina. Because I told my brother in Virginia yesterday that I probably would get a loan and use the land as collateral, because I was like, right now I need the money, and because I'm hurting, you know. And this is why I was calling my sister. I was calling my brother. I was calling family because I need help. I was like, look, I need some money. I need some money. I'm hurting. You know, my sister told me she can send me like $20, $25 on a gift card. My brother in Virginia's like, no, I can't do it. You know, so I was like, what am I going to do? You know, but he's holding some of my clothes. He told me to call my cousin. I did, and I told my sister what he had said, and she's like, he already called him, and he's not coming to help you. Didn't he know that already? I'm like, yeah, I know. I was like, dude, he's not going to do it. I called and told him I was at the library downtown. He never showed up. I was like, I already knew and this was going to happen. I already knew that. And that was just yesterday. I was like, see, I turn to family and this is what I get. I get nothing. So, well, my sister does try to help a little bit, you know, so, and like I said, you know, her boyfriend doesn't really want her to help, but he's a Jehovah's Witness or whatever. And those guys or people are kind of like, they want to pick and choose who they help and who they don't help, or what they like and don't like. I don't know.
Seems like a contradiction to me.
Yeah. So I mean, I never understood that religion anyway. So I kind of like this is which I'm the kind of person, I believe in God, but I don't try and cram religion down people's throats and stuff. I try to just let them do whatever. You know, I have nothing against gay people either. I have nothing against no one. A lot of people I know are gay, but you know, I'm not gay. I like women, but it's just one of those things, you know, where I'm just kind of like live and let live kind of person. I have to be, you know. I try to be, you know, all the stuff I've been through and seen, and it's crazy, you know.
It wears you down.
Yeah, all the crap that I've been through, and sometimes I at times I don't know what to do. I mean, sometimes I told Will that, like, when he had a room for 2 days, and I was like telling him, sometimes I just want to cry, sometimes I just want to end it, you know, I just want to end it. I want to, you know, but I was like, I can't, because my brother, my autistic brother, I gotta keep pushing on for him.
He keeps you going.
If it wasn't for him, I don't know. There's nothing out here for me. There's nothing for me. I don't have anything. There's nothing that would keep me going. No money, no woman, no nothing. That's just, I was like, fuck this world. I know, sometimes I do think that way. You know, kind of like, I told my brother in Virginia, I said, I'm scared that I might go back into my old ways, and my old ways is going to get me back in jail. You know, and I'll clock somebody just for looking at me wrong. You know, and it's like, you know, well, you don't want to hit them and stuff. And I don't want to do all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to stay out of trouble. I'm trying to stay focused and do what I need to do, which is, you know, get back on my feet somehow and get my brother back. I'm not giving up on my brother. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to try and stay focused and stay positive as best as I can, no matter what, and do what I got to do,
And James, I have been pushing since we've been talking to get these shorts out, and I really, really hope that they help in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, I hope that at least, you talking, being able to, having us listen to you, I hope it helps.
It does.
In some capacity.
It does, because it does help, like, talking about it. It helps, getting that stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you, I said, who gives a shit if you send me money, I go buy a pack of cigarettes. I'm like, hey, lucky you don't send me money, I don't go get a case of beer, or I go buy drugs or guns and go shoot these places up for screwing me over since I came to South Carolina. I could do that. I could go get some guns and shoot that stupid bitch that put my mom in a nursing home where I couldn't get to her even when I had the money. Because I know my mom was probably wondering where I was. She probably was dying to see me,
Mm-hmm.
because I know that was what was on her mind. And it broke my heart that I couldn't go see her. And I was always asking, what bus goes here to Blackville, Aiken. They just told me that Aiken is close to. I said, okay, well, what bus can I take? Where? And this is back when I still had my brother's money and coming in. And I was like, well, what? And it just pissed me off to no end because I couldn't get to her. I didn't know where she was, And that was kind of like, what I was thinking, And then now I'm kind of like, as she's gone, I was like, there's nothing I can do, I mean, I don't think that way. So I'm not going to take the money and go do stuff like that.
Because that is the point, though. You don't do that.
No,
Yeah.
I don't, and I'm trying to use it for good, for good things, to get myself back on my feet and get my brother back. Because I know if I do that other thing with the gun and stuff, all that's going to do is get me in prison or in the graveyard.
Yeah.
And I don't want to end up like that. God, I see that stuff all the time on the news, and sometimes I feel like I don't condone it, but I don't blame them because I see how they feel and how they must feel because
It's a pipeline.
Yeah, and because I see how I was like, God dang, they treat people like straight shit. And you think that they're going to just be okay with that? That's just insane.
Yeah.
And this is my family we're talking about, not friends, And it's beyond like hate. It's just rage. It's just all that stuff rolled into one, man. I mean, I just sometimes like I said, I don't condone it, but I can see why they would do it. I do understand why they would do it because. I just like, man, you don't want to listen to me. I mean, I was like, I think a gun will make anybody listen. That'll get your attention because you sure got my attention. And I just, because that nurse in Lexington told me, she wasn't even a nurse. She was just like a caseworker or something. And she told me, I remember on the 8th floor, I'm sorry, that she was going to put her 2 cents in or whatever and make sure I wasn't going to be able to see my mom. And because she didn't like the way I was doing stuff as a caretaker, I was like, well, where were you at for the last 13 years? When I was changing her diaper, getting her to a hospital, making sure she was okay when she was having seizures. Where were you when all that shit was going on? Huh? When I called the ambulance, and all this stuff, where was you at when my brother was getting beat up in an assisted living home? Huh? I was like, you talk about my family? Man, I just... I could have snapped and should have snapped, but I didn't. I just, I don't want to take my anger out on the wrong person, And I don't, that's why I try to walk on it. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, and these situations with this homelessness stuff, And I don't know. So I try to keep a positive attitude about, I don't know what, I try to just go in my own world, and a lot of times you hear me listening to rap music and stuff, and
It's an outlet. It's a good outlet.
Nah, I listen to Eminem lately.
Mm-hmm.
So this new album, I only got like 2 songs I downloaded off of my Amazon. That's the only way I could have listened to Somebody Save Me, and which kind of really is a depressing song. But and the other one, Houdini, it's only 2 songs that I got. I wanted to listen to the rest of the album and see if it was any good. I'm pretty sure it is. But
Yeah.
I wasn't really into Eminem because when I got out of the joint, everybody was talking about him. I was like, what happened to Beastie Boys? And because I remember this is 2000.
Yeah.
And way back when, I was like, so, but anyway, like I said, I'm just, I'm just me, and I'm really hoping that you guys can do a lot of magical stuff with these interviews, and hopefully something positive will come out of it. I'm kind of hoping.
I hope so too.
Do you have any questions for me, Megan?
No. How old's your brother?
He is, let's see, 45. He'd be 40. No, what year is this? 2024. Yeah, he's 44. I'm sorry. He'll be 45 this November 13th. And my mom would have been 77. And this past August, she would have been 77.
And the three of you have only been here just since May?
Mm-hmm. And I was bringing my mom, like I said, I was bringing my mom here to, that's the whole thing, the whole point of me coming to South Carolina was because of my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I was bringing her here. Now that I know how things are here, I would have told her, fuck South Carolina, and we are never going back there. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm selling your land. I would have never told her nothing. I would have probably just sold it, bought some land in Texas, and I'd be like, Mom, you're home. I would have just lied my ass off. I'm like, I would have felt so bad, but then other part would have felt, well, at least we're not homeless. And
Still, you wouldn't have been able,
yeah, no.
hindsight 2020. But
I wouldn't have been able to save my mom, but at least I would have been able to be with her when she passed. And I would have probably just told her, Mom, just go to your family. I know you miss them. I'm going to miss you too. I love you, Mom. And thank you for everything. Everything. And sometimes I think about her. I try not to talk about her too much because I haven't had any time to really mourn for her.
yeah, you've been, running on empty for so long.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes I wonder, is there anything good going to happen to me in South Carolina ever? I mean, like anything? I mean, some money, or maybe some pretty girl. I mean, I don't know. I'm so sick of the negative crap. It just, it makes me just, it's not like, I'm not trying to, I don't know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to figure things out. And,
You're trying to survive.
Yeah, survive. Go get my brother. I just think that that's all I want to do is get a place and get my brother. It's like get a place, apartment or trailer or something, mobile home, anything, and then once I got that and it's got water and electricity, I'm like, next thing is get my brother. And then, because like I told my brother yesterday in Virginia, I said, listen, man, we just let me come up there, and after I get my ID renewed, and I'll go to work, I'll go get a place, I'll save my money, I'll get a place, and I'll get my brother, I'll get my other brother Tommy, that's his name, the autistic brother, and because he's got his own money. I said, I put my money with his, and if you don't want us there, we'll bounce. We'll come back to South Carolina. I'll sell the land, and then we'll just go back to Texas. I mean, because I sure as hell don't want to buy some more land in a state where I'm treated like shit. I'm like, hell no. Look how you treated me. Look how you treated my family. You think I want to stay here? Hell no. I feel like I'm in hell. I mean, treat me like dirt. I mean, for all I know, he probably killed my mom. And boy, she died of, I don't know that. You won't let me talk to my own brother? I'm immediate family. I'm his legal guardian now. What the I was my mom's power of attorney. What the fuck, man? I'm treated like shit. I don't get no kind of nothing here. I get no compensation for all the years I've been looking after my mom. And they're like, oh, we can't give you that. Why? Why? Why not? I mean, so I was kind of like, I don't know, man. That's kind of like stuff I think about sometimes. I'm like, you would think that, I just want to, like I said, I just want to know that he's okay, and I want to hear it from him. I want him to tell me he's all right. Or if he tells me that, they're picking on me again, it sucks, that's kind of stuff, I want him to feel like, when I talk to him, I want him to feel like, he's able to talk to me freely, without any, I don't know, restriction on him, I guess, but if I ever do get him back, he'll tell me what happened to him, what what was going on in his own time, in his own way or whatnot, you know, and so anyways, like, you know, I just, like I said, you know, it's rough, you know, and I've reached out to my family. I don't know, you know, they're not
receptive.
They are, but it's, you know, my sister can't really do a whole lot right now because her boyfriend's not gonna let her do anything. My brother in Virginia is just, he's like, I ain't got the money. And I was like, so, and then my cousin, he was a no-show. So I mean, he's just, you know, he's not trying to do anything either. So it's all good. That's not all good, but it's up to me to figure something out. So I turn to social media. It's the only thing I know how to do. You know, it's better than me going back to my old ways, you know, stealing and all this other crap, because all that's going to do is get me in jail and stuff like that, you know, which I ain't trying to do.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I was thankful the other day. I got to spend a couple of days in a room, got to shower, change clothes, well, not change clothes, but, you know, got some clean socks on and clean underwear, but, you know, that's cool. So, yeah, my brother's 40, he'll be 45 this November 13th. So,
Well, I'm hoping that somewhere down the line, you two are able to get back together.
me too.
James, I hate to cut it short, but thank you so much for your time again.
Okay. All right, Morgan and
Megan.
Megan. Gotta get, you're one of the new.
I'm new.
Yeah, new people.
Mhm.
All right,
That's true.
and we do appreciate you guys coming out and feeding us and doing these interviews. And I wonder why some of them other groups don't do it either. I mean, they feed. See, that's something else. We feed. They feed us, and then I'm like, yeah. What about if we got to go to the bathroom? Because you know that's coming.
Yeah.
And there's like, besides the library, there's only one, like, Porter John. I know it's over there by
A few blocks away, right?
Yeah, it's like 1 or 2 blocks away. It's like over there, the Oliver building, and then you cross the street, and it's like Porter John's right there. And so that's kind of, and I told my sister yesterday. Every day I think about it. I'm like, as soon as I get a place, or I'm probably gonna sell that land, because it's. The whole point of me doing this stuff was for my mom. You know, if she can't be there, I don't really want it. It doesn't have any sentimental value to me. I didn't grow up on it.
Well, now it needs to be for you and for your brother, either monetarily or to live on. In some
Right.
capacity.
That's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about other two, which one would be. I'm thinking living on it would be better, because if I sold it, I'd have a little bit of cash. But that cash is gonna either sooner or later it's gonna be gone.
Split it up.
Yeah.
But the land lasts forever.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I was
How
thinking.
much land is it?
An acre.
An acre?
Mhm.
You could split it up and live on half.
No, what I
Sell
was
the other
thinking. No, what I was thinking was put some more trailers on there and just run it out.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, what I could do is get like what do you call a loan, like and use the land as collateral.
Ah, yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, and then just do it like that, and just turn that, and then turn. And of course, even use some of the money for myself, but you know, rent the place out. That's not thinking about that. And of course, I'm going to evict my cousin, his friend, his stupid girlfriend, and dumb dogs. Now, I'm not a animal hater or nothing like that, and I hate doing that shit. But I'm like, okay, this is not what I expected when I came here. And he didn't come out here and say, hey, do you need any help? You need to come stay at night for a couple of nights. You need to change your clothes. You need some money. Anything, you know, to make, you know, anything. It's, you know, my brother, none. I'm talking about my brother in Virginia, or my cousin, or any of my relatives here. Any one of them could come out here and ask me how I'm doing. I'm pretty sure some of them see my videos and be like, I didn't know he was out there. And I'm like, yeah, you fucking didn't know I was out here. You just didn't want to come out here because you're sorry. And, you know, it's like, oh, those action figures got stolen. And I know who stole them, my cousin. And my sister's like, yeah, he probably pawned them or something, or sold them. So I was like, prick.
Are you successful with the online donations? Like, are you getting some?
Some donations, I get Cash App, some money.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tell them Shane's Michael Shannon 2. That's my Cash App. That's the only way I can get money because I don't have a bank account or nothing like
Yeah,
that.
no, I think it's.
But
Cash App's good.
I get some from YouTube. I get some from Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But they send me like $20 or $30. It's never like a huge amount.
Yeah, but it adds up and it all.
It helps. Every bit helps. I tell them every bit. I do make videos and I post it on YouTube and Instagram, thanking them. I thank them for that.
And when you get a room, is it at a hotel or is it at?
Okay, but this last one was. He got it. It was at Super 8.
Oh, like
And
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
no, I don't usually do Super 8. I was like, so this is your barbecue. I'm just enjoying the ride. I don't know why he picked me. He's like, because you always look out for me, James. I was like, okay. But when I get a room, I usually go to Red Roof Inn. And I told them people online, I told them, you guys, you can give me a motel voucher or something, or a hotel voucher or something. It could be at the Hilton or something, or wherever, Holiday Inn, because it's like right here, it'd be easy for me to get to, because I could just walk right in, like, I'm James, there's my ID, just, I've stayed at Holiday Inn before in Texas, I've stayed at the Hilton in Texas, I probably got points there, I heard that you got points, it's like, now, you might have to pay for the first night, but the next 2 or 3 nights will be free, and,
But speaking of paying for things, James, that link I sent you goes over like the different things, like the different requirements for YouTube to be able to get ad revenue on it. So I hope that helps in some capacity.
And you should do TikTok too if you're not already.
Especially if you're doing shorts. Especially if you're doing shorts.
If you're doing shorts, pop them up, load them on to TikTok too.
I'm on TikTok, yes. I see, I'm on TikTok on both of these phones. The other phone, only time it'll work is when I'm here because of the Wi-Fi.
Right.
That's my phone. This other one is one that no, that one right there. This one that my friend got, put me on his plan, and I was like, so like I said, I'm just trying to generate some kind of, revenue and people on there keep telling me to make it, make your videos entertaining, make it marketable, and it's like, I am. You guys keep dissing me and talking shit about me, but yeah, you keep watching my videos.
Exactly.
I'm addictive. They want to know what's going on with my life. Like,
yeah.
You can't stop watching my videos. I'm addictive. Mm-hmm. And so I couldn't believe that one of my videos I posted on Instagram got like 20, like one got 2K, and then it jumped to 5K, and another one jumped to like 23,000. And I was like, is that going viral? And I don't know. I mean, so because I post videos on there, I don't know what people like or don't like. I was like, bud, you keep watching my videos, so I'm doing something right. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, like I was picking up some trash. I filmed me picking up some trash, and it was a Reese's Pieces wrapper and then Chips Ahoy. And they're like, you threw that on the ground, didn't you? I was like, well, I'm not a litter bug. So I put it. So they say I filmed myself putting it in the trash yesterday. Like, you threw that on the ground. I was like, oh gosh, shush. But even if I was successful, I probably would still film myself like in a house or something. Uh-huh. My goal, and I know this is stupid, this is like probably long term, like way down the road. And because I already told my autistic brother, he keeps reminding me of it, and it's like, when are we gonna get a mansion? I was like, okay, about that. It might have to be a mini mansion, and it may be a while. Because I'm like, I'd like to be in one too, but we don't have money for that right now. So that's what I tell my brother, my autistic brother. I'm like, we don't have the money right now, and don't tell nobody if we do move into one. I said, especially my brother in Virginia or sister in Texas, and nobody we know, because I don't want them. I just want them to think we live in a poor house somewhere or a trailer. It's run down. Just lie to them through your teeth, because everybody and their mom will be at our door, wanting to move in or something. So that's why I would be like, trying to lie about everything, So, yeah, but that's like a long-term goal, I guess, unless I, become a celebrity or something. And I was like, oh, God, that would be so cool if that ever happened. Because then I'd be like, yeah, finally. The only downside to it is I wouldn't have my mom, and I would love to have her there and have her, just to enjoy what's going on, and just have stuff for her because I loved her so much and I cared about her so much. One thing I am going to do with my brother is have nurse aides come out to see him, like I did with my mom, and have them come out like once a week or something and check on him and help him take showers because my sister's like, make sure he just takes a bath because he was always bad about taking baths. He would never take them. And like when he did take him, it would be like, oh my God, there'd be shit all in the tub. And I would have to go in there and clean it because he wouldn't do it. So it's like talking to the wall. It's like, but he's autistic. He doesn't know any better. I was like, oh my Lord. So I'd go in there and get some bleach and like, oh Lord. And then my feet be itching like crazy every time I get out the tub after I do that stuff. I mean, but I try to, oh God. Every time I do it because I get the mop and do it, and I'll be sitting there scrubbing, and then I just take that mop and throw it out because after I get done doing it, I was like, yeah, throwing this in the trash. And
do you know where your brother is? Like what facility?
They won't tell me. They won't let me talk to him. They won't tell me.
I wouldn't even know like where to start to like make calls to find him.
Something. That's where he was last that I know of. And I keep thinking.
You moved him from Columbia to Sumter?
No, we went there. My brother and me, we went there on advice from a church lady, this black church lady that we met when we first got here. And she said there's a shelter out there that we would that would help us, let us stay there. So we go there to Sumter, and then the shelter, whatever it looks like, it was abandoned for years. It looked like should be condemned. And my brother starts throwing a fit. So then we go to the Toomey Hospital there, and they admit him that night. Now I didn't know that they were going to keep him, like, then they, the next day I was going to come back and get him. And then they said, oh, well, we're going to keep your brother for a few more days. And then they admitted him and kept him, put him in a psych ward or whatever. I said, okay, he's autistic, not crazy. And he's not on drugs. And then it got to where, okay, you're not going to, then they said, okay, I can't talk to him. And that went on for like 2 or 3 months. And then they moved him like this month, or no, last month. Yeah, this month. And then when they moved in, they're like, yeah, you can't. That's when they're like, we're not going to let you know where he's at. So that's what happened to that. And it's been like that ever since. So